Good morning, good morning. Happy Tuesday. How's everybody doing today? Y'all already know it's your boy Rick. Let's get into it, everybody. I barely come on here, but whenever something comes to mind and I think about something that can potentially help other parents out, then I will do this. Make a little video for y'all. And hopefully get some insight and see where y'all head is at, and if there's something that y'all can relate to. You know what I mean? I try to do stuff that's relatable, or things that can help out other parents and so forth. So life goes in full circles, right? And we were once teenagers, and I feel like we were a little rebellious, and thought that we knew it all, right? So when it comes to our children, we kind of relate to them in a sense, but things were a lot different. And I'm gonna give you a little backstory, so y'all can kind of understand like where it is that I'm coming from. So obviously growing up, I've told y'all that my grandmother raised me. So I didn't grow up with my parents. I mean, they were in my life, right? They were in my life, but my grandmother raised me. My father, he was around. He wasn't like fully there. He would just be lingering or whatever. And my mother lived out here in Boston or whatever. So every summer, I would come up to Boston and I would like visit my mom and spend the summers with her. Blase, blase. Fast forward, there came a point where my grandmother had to leave to Dominican Republic. And I was originally gonna go with her to DR. But in DR things are different, what I had to pay for me to go to school and all that. And like my dad wasn't, he wasn't with it. So whatever. So I ended up staying in Florida, in Miami, with my uncle and and my cousins and stuff like that. And so I did like my high school years in Miami with living with my uncle. But when by the time I got 17, I was like trying to find work, and it was a little hard for me to find a job. I had no experience, working or whatever. So that one summer I came to Boston and stayed with my. So I came out here, to Massachusetts with my mom's or whatever to spend the summer. At that point, she was married to my stepfather, right? Well, ex stepfather now, but me still my stepfather, because we was cool and whatever. But he helped me get a summer job at Walmart. My first job, you know what I'm saying? So I'm 17, and you think you know it all when you're like 17, right? You're a teenager, and you think like you're hot shit. So that's when I met my kid's mother, right? So fast forward, we all know how that went down, right? So I don't even got to get into that. So basically, I ended up leaving Miami to come live with my mom, and then got mixed up with this situation. And the point that I'm trying to get at is that although I didn't grow up with my mother, her motherly instincts kicked in, right? And she tried to basically school me on things, and I wasn't hearing it. My mentality at that point was like, I didn't grow up with you, like you ain't gotta tell me what to do. So I'm gonna do me. So I kind of felt at that point like she was trying to control me and all this other stuff. But maybe it was her delivery, right? Her intentions were good. It was just her delivery, and it just created conflict between us. Now, fast forward to today. My kids are like young adults, and they've been living with me for the past 12 years, since they were like 7, 8 years old, right? I've done everything in my power to try and guide. guide them, give them the tools that they need to survive out here in the world. You know what I'm saying? They were privileged enough to be able to have me in their lives, to kind of like basically, you know, teach them like what I went through, my experiences, so that they don't have to go through with it, right? And I feel like, a lot of us grew up without, their parents, or, what I'm saying? There's always that missing factor. And there's not no excuses, right? Like, we all go through our traumas, we all go through our different, upbringings and things like that. But at the end of the day, it's all the same story, right? But we kind of like have to like overcome those things and, basically learn from it, right? That's what life is, going through our ups and downs, learning from our experiences, you know what I'm saying? That's how you gain wisdom, right? You try something, and it didn't go right the first time, so the second time when you try to do it, you be like, okay, so I gotta do this a little different, so that you don't go through it again like how you did the first time. That's life, right? So, I just feel like our generation, at least like my generation, we grew up a certain way, and we kind of like, we still have some of those old school methods mixed in with our own ways, right? Like our era, right? Because at least me personally, because I know everybody's different. Like, my grandmother, raised me very traditional. Like, she would be like, "Tú no puedes hacer esto porque después te llevan preso." Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't do this because, you can go to jail. And, like, it kind of, like, made you scared. Like, oh, shit, like, I ain't going to do that because I ain't trying to be in jail. Or, like, she would be like, oh, te ponen en primera plana. Like, you be, like, on the front page of the newspaper. So, like, it's funny when I think about it. But, like, those things made me not, like, want to do certain things. Like, like, my grandma told me, like, not to do that because this could happen, right? So, I'm thankful for that because it helped me, like, stay out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't like, I ain't trying to do this because I ain't trying to be, like, all up in the mix. You know what I'm saying? So, when it comes to my kids, I've always tried to instill some of the things that my grandmother taught me with, with my experiences and things like that. But I've come to realization that, my kids are already, like, they're grown-ups. You know what I'm saying? With the exception of Layla, she's still a preteen, right? And, they pretty much have to vouch for themselves. Like, I think we reach a certain point in our lives where, we want to be very paternal and be there for our kids and hold their hands, and you don't want them to mess up. But, us coddling them and holding their hands, guess what? At the end of the day, it's doing more damage than good because they're not learning on their own. Point blank, period. And that's, like I said, that's part of life. Our experiences and going through stuff and being able to learn from it, we gotta let them go. Gotta let them go so that they can be out there in the world and learn. And I'm not a perfect father. I'm not perfect. I know sometimes I let my emotions get the best of me. I get angry. I yell, and I say how it is. And sometimes the truth hurts, and it's a tough pill to swallow. But you know what? I'd rather keep it real with my kids and tell them what it is than sugarcoat shit. And that when the time comes, like, oh, my dad didn't tell me. Nah, that's why I tell you what it is, because you don't have to go through it. You don't have to go through it. And we, us parents, try to be our kids' friends, and that's the problem. And I've said this many times. You try to be your kid's friend, that parenting stuff, that can go out the window because they looking at you like a regular individual. You're no longer their parent. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, they reckon They recognize that you're their parent, but there's a different level of respect when it comes to like you trying to be their friend than you being their parent. You got to be their parent first and then their friend, not their friend and then their parent, because it don't mix. It's like oil and vinegar. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't or oil and water. You know what I'm saying? You can't have those two together because it's not gonna mix well. So I feel like my son lately, he obviously he works overnights, and I understand. Like I understand he works, and he's sleeping during the day because he's working overnight. But then the weekend comes, it's like we don't see him, and that's understandable. Like, you want to hang out with your friends, that's cool. Like, I'm letting you go hang out with your friends, but make it a point to like be in the house at least one day and spend time with your family. Like, I'll be straight up. Like, yo, my house ain't no hotel, bro. Like, you have to respect that. Like, if you can't abide by my rules, you grown. Like, you can go live on your own, and you could do whatever you want. Esa tu casa, that's your house. You ain't gotta listen to my mouth and tell you, yo, like, you gotta be home at a certain time, because that's how it was when we was growing up. Like, yo, you got curfew, bro. Like, you living under my house, that means you can't be out there on your own. I mean, you can. There's the door. You have every right to try and be there on your own and do whatever you want. But there comes responsibilities. You know what I'm saying? Priorities got to take place. Now, when you think that you know it all and you want to take on the world, things going to go left real quick. You know what I'm saying? And that's when all the stuff you try to teach them so that it don't get to that point, it goes out the window. But sometimes you want to hope and think that everything that you told them and have tried to teach them over the years is sinks in, so that when they do get on their own, they kind of like make it, and you want them to make it. You don't want your kids to fail. I don't want to see my kids struggling, going through stuff, and not being able to make it on their own, because that's definitely not what I want. You know what I mean? But I just feel like these kids nowadays, they just have that sense of entitlement because, oh, like, you're my parent, you gotta like take care of me for the rest of my life. Nah, Playboy, it don't work that way. It does not work that way. You know what I'm saying? You grown, you able to go out there and work and do things on your own. Then you gotta do big boy things. You can't think that you're doing big boy things and still want to act like a kid living at home. Now, this is why I do these videos, because some of y'all may agree, some of y'all may disagree, and that's okay, because everybody's entitled to their opinion. And and that's the reason why I make these videos, because I want to see where everybody's head is at, because maybe I could be wrong, you know what I'm saying, in certain things, and y'all feedback can help me, right? It goes both ways. You know what I'm saying? I try to help y'all, but seeing the feedback kind of helps me see things a little clearer, because sometimes from the inside looking out is not the same from the outside looking in, right? It's a different point of view. So, that's basically where, my head is at today. And, me and my wife, we want to, like, do our own thing. Like, these kids is grown. There's only so much you can do. I'm not saying that I'm abandoning my kids and I'm telling them, like, yo, get out of my house. That's definitely not what I'm doing. And it may seem that way, but my son will be 21 in January. My daughter's turning 19. And I was on my own when I was 17 going on 18. And I'm not saying that that it's the same thing, because the circumstances were different. But there comes a certain point in time where like yeah, enough's enough. Like they think that they know it all, and they don't want to listen. So that's when I say, hey, I think it's time for you to do your own thing, move out the nest, you know what I'm saying, get your own spot, and be your own person, because that's what life is. You gotta let them go and be their own person. We can't sit here and keep them at home till they're like 30, 40 years old because we're afraid. If we don't let them go and let them live their own lives, they're never gonna learn, right? I had to learn the hard way. And, because I learned the hard way, I've always kept it real with my kids and told them, like, this is what it is. Like, you need to learn to budget your money, you know what I'm saying? Build your credit. Like, and it's things like that is going to help them because they're conscious of, like, okay, I got responsibilities, I have priorities. I can't go and buy the new iPhone or get a new PS5 because, because I want it. It doesn't work that way because when you're on your own, you got rent, you got car insurance, you got to buy groceries, there's just utilities. Hey, that shit adds up, homie. It adds up. And it's not easy. It's not easy. Like, you have no care in the world when you're not the one paying for stuff. But the minute you start paying for stuff and you bought it with your money, you best believe you're gonna be taking care of it like there's no tomorrow. You guard things with your life. You buy a car, it's maintenance. Oil change, your brakes and all that stuff, that's maintenance. You can't just turn on the car and go and think that the car is gonna last you forever. So that's just how it is. You have to teach them this is what life brings. This is what was out there, like, so that way they're okay. And they're gonna make their mistakes and they're gonna go through it. But you know what? They gotta learn on their own. Like, oh, you did that? You messed up? Okay. So now you gotta deal with it. You learn from it. And that's it. And then you still keep giving them advice. You continue to be the parent. Right? Because they're still learning as they go. We're still learning as we go, right? Every day in life there's a lesson to be learned. And, we just gotta keep giving them advice. Si lo quieren coger, lo cogen. Si no, no, right? But you're doing your part as a parent, and, that's all we can do. So I know I've been rambling and I've been going off topic and, but kind of like had to like get this stuff off my chest and kind of see like what y'all thoughts are on this topic and subject. I know a lot of people, some of y'all be dealing with preteens or, your kids might still be young, and seeing this, you can be like, oh, okay, so this is what I'm looking at like 10 years down the road or whatever, and it might help you. But and if you're dealing with young adults like I am right now, then, I'm pretty sure y'all understand where I'm really coming from. So I gotta get in. I'm running a little late, so I will talk to y'all soon. Let me know y'all feedback and how y'all feel about this, and I will talk to y'all.